What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson. Today is April 11th, and we're going to discuss the Bitcoin price action. So we are seeing the market is coming down even more today. In the previous video on this channel, we were discussing the failed breakout that we saw on this channel, and we identified it as a failed breakout. I think there were a lot of people out there that didn't want to believe that this was the case, but it was pretty clear when we got below these candle body close zones. You know, it was at that point a failed breakout. And I also set those conditions, if you guys remember, where I was saying below the 128-day SMA, you know, previously acted as great support, you know, pretty much throughout all of Bitcoin history. I said if we lose that, well, then, you know, it's definitely a failed breakout. And we have been getting daily candle closes below the 128 since, right? Since we got the first close, we never really got above it. So at this point, Bitcoin has failed to hold the breakout zone. It has failed to hold the 128-day, which, as I said in my last video, we're coming back into this neutral spot, the area that Bitcoin really wasn't able to escape for the longest time, failed breakout, and now we're back. In this video, we discussed, once again, Bitcoin's relationship to the stock market and why it's important to analyze Bitcoin and the stock market together. And on Twitter, I was saying you can't analyze Bitcoin without taking the stock market into consideration. Bitcoin is a correlated asset, period. Right? And we can have a discussion about whether it won't be in the future or something like that, but it is correlated, and we know that that is true. The S&P 500 is down today even more. We're looking at a minus 1.17% down for the day. We're falling into a lower low zone now, showing some instability, some uncertainty, and that is what's driving the Bitcoin price action. What I was saying on Twitter today is that I don't think the bulls expected this deep of a retrace after that breakout. You know, we were warning about the 128-day breakdown signaling a failed breakout, and nobody wanted to believe it. Lack of demand and weakness is what I see in the charts right now. And the stock market will have the final word. And like I was saying down here, you know, what do I mean by the stock market will have the final word? Well, if there's a lack of demand for Bitcoin, that means that if the stock market goes up, we will go up. And if the stock market goes down, we will go down. The stock market is going to be the main driver of confidence for speculators to speculate on Bitcoin. If the S&P rebounds up and we break above resistance, well, that's going to be very bullish. And you're going to see bullish speculation in the crypto market. If the stock market just continues to hit lower lows, well, it's not going to be so good for Bitcoin. I know for some of you, what I'm saying is obvious, but there's still this like air of, but there's still like this like myth that Bitcoin is somehow an uncorrelated hedge against the stock market. And guys, if you look at the Satoshi white paper, Satoshi never talked about Bitcoin being a hedge against the stock market. That's not what it was designed for, right? So equities will play a role in the direction for Bitcoin. What is going to happen next? Well, we're going to be looking towards the stock market to tell us that. And as of right now, we do have the formation of a local top. And just to recap, as we discussed in previous videos, historically, when we have a volatile stock market, we get a downtrend for Bitcoin. Volatile stock market, downtrend for Bitcoin. Volatile stock market, downtrend for Bitcoin. You know, 2011, 2014, 2015, and 2018. And now we're seeing, once again, a volatile stock market, which does signal, you know, basically kind of what I was saying, that it's best to sort of play defense right now. If equities start losing steam, then Bitcoin will as well. If they get unstable, Bitcoin will get unstable as well. I think being on defense is the right idea at this moment in time, which basically means don't deploy unnecessary amounts of capital until there's clarity on direction. You know, HODL long term, that's fine, but don't go crazy just yet. We need to see, you know, we need real signals from Bitcoin here, because we're coming back now to what is, you know, this upward sloping trend line, however you want to interpret it. We're back to the lower end of the historic range here over the past couple of years. And if Bitcoin is unable to maintain this zone, you know, we could find ourselves coming down. And looking at the Wall Street cheat sheet, at that point, of breaking below, these lower low, or sorry, this higher low range, if we did end up doing that, it's pretty obvious where we would be. We would be in a denial of a downtrend, right? We would be entering capitulation. And that, I don't even think you could really argue against that, because if we end up coming down and seeing lower lows on the weekly, monthly time scale, that is, that's going to incite a lot of denial and then panic and capitulation until we form some kind of bottom. And I know people are going to get really scared that I'm talking about this right now, but this is just a straightforward analysis. This is what we have seen from Bitcoin in the past when the stock market becomes unstable. And if we just take a look at Bitcoin here, which is the teal color on the chart, and if we just hop over to the 5-minute, I just want to show you guys something, how it's literally every single day we're seeing a really strong correlation. It's coming down with the S&P, moving sideways. Every peak and trough is kind of moving right alongside of it. Even the intraday price action is very much the same. So we got to look towards the stock market right now to gauge our confidence. Whether we want to or not, that is what everyone else is doing. And generally speaking, statistically downward sloping consolidations like we saw right here, statistically break out to the upside more so than upward sloping consolidations, right? Statistically upward sloping consolidations break out to the downside more often. So we have sort of this area of candle body closes, which is one way to interpret our trend line, which is roughly going to be about right here at 39,500 or so. If we can't maintain that, we're coming back to a pretty iffy spot here for Bitcoin, where that's where we could end up seeing denial of a downtrend followed by possible capitulation. That is a strong possibility here. If we do, of course, if we maintain it, it's pretty obvious. If the stock market becomes bullish, we may have a shot at actually maintaining this. But as of right now, it is starting to look a little bit more like the downside seems more likely, if I'm going to be speaking honestly here. If we go to the 50-week SMA for Bitcoin, this is another major indicator for past bearish trends, where when we come back and we break below it, we enter a major downtrend. 2018, break down, come up, use it as resistance, major move down. Here in 2022, break below it, come up, use it as resistance, possibly major move down, right? So this is just what the chart is showing me. And like I said, it's best to be on defense. Don't deploy unnecessary amounts of capital until you get confirmations. Trade on confirmations, not feelings. Right? We don't want to be trading on the feeling of, oh, I just feel like Bitcoin's going to go up. Oh, I just feel like Bitcoin's going to go down. Wait for the confirmations, guys, before you make any big decisions. Don't blindly trade this market. I'm just analyzing the chart as an analyst should. Again, my new goal is to be as unbiased as possible. People are going to say, well, you sound like you're biased towards the downside. Well, that's what the chart is sort of just telling me right now. With all of the external risks, the stock market and stuff like that, for now, this could all change, of course, if we end up bouncing up and breaking above resistance, all of that will change. But as of right now, it's kind of just signaling downside. I have assets that are locked up, like in Ethereum 2, ETH2 staking. So I'd rather not us do this, right? I'd rather have us go up to the moon. But I'm just giving you, not my biased opinion. I'm giving you what the chart is telling me here. And we have this failed breakout, not looking too hot, a clear lack of demand, a lack of confidence. And because of that, the speculators will gauge their confidence by looking at traditional markets, right? And remember what I said about this volatile market? Historically, it does signal downtrends. As much as I hate to say it, as much as no one wants to hear it, that is just historically how this goes. An unstable stock market is bad for Bitcoin. So we'll see. We'll see if we end up getting some kind of support bounce or whatever, or if we end up just breaking down. And if we do, it could be worth de-risking from low cap altcoins, right? Because if we end up really start failing this range, if we do, if we end up doing some kind of capitulation thing, de-risking from the altcoins after getting the confirmation of a breakdown could be a good idea, right? The one thing, holding Bitcoin through a bear market is acceptable and it's doable. You can do it and come out on the other side. Even if we do see some kind of bearish trend here, eventually you're going to come out most likely on the upside of things, right? Doing that with Bitcoin's fine, with Ethereum, fine, right? I have F2 staked. I'm going to be holding it until 2024. So there's that, right? But, the low caps, the coins that we don't know if they're going to exist over here, right? As we're coming back up, those are the ones that, could be come down and never return, right? So again, that's the real risk here is the altcoins. Bitcoin, if you have conviction, then just, hold on or, do whatever you think is right. This is not financial advice. But that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.